in learning in Italy. It begins in Florence. And it begins for a variety of reasons in Florence. The first great Italian artist, Florentine artist, is Donatello. He's famous for creating the David. He was also a painter. The David is a casting, so it's made out of what? Bronze. After the David is created, Michelangelo is going to be another of the great Italian artists. Michelangelo would prefer to be known for his sculptures. He felt that sculpting was the purest form of art, and his great sculpture, another David, made out of marble, it's like 16 feet tall. This is what he would prefer to be known as. For these sculptures, Madonna and Child, for a lot of his religious type sculptures, and he does a lot of religious work because the Catholic Church is his patron. Now, unfortunately for Michelangelo, not really unfortunately, but Michelangelo is not known as much for his sculptures as he is for his painting, and in particular his painting of the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, which did take him over 4 years to create, lying on his back as he was making this fresco on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. The most famous of which is the panel of the creation of man, God touching Adam's finger, giving him life. Raphael, the third great Italian artist that we are going to talk about, that we did talk about, Raphael was famous for a lot of things, but the most important thing that he was famous for was his use of perspective and vanishing points that gave depth to his paintings. As we saw in the School of Athens, the painting that's up there right now, Raphael also did a lot of Madonna paintings. Madonna, or Venus in the Seashell, you know, these ideal feminine paintings. Now, Raphael would not be the last great Italian artist to do feminine paintings, but you know, he does a lot of the paintings of woman with child, like his Madonna type paintings. The next great artist is Leonardo da Vinci, who was an inventor, a linguist, a writer, sculptor, artist, painter, lots of different things Leonardo does. His most famous painting, the Mona Lisa, which was a painting of a wealthy merchant's daughter. It takes Leonardo 4 years to paint it, never gives it to the person that bought it. Arguably his most famous piece of work is The Last Supper, which is also in the Sistine Chapel. This Last Supper depicts Jesus at his table, telling his disciples that somebody will betray him. Now, the Southern Renaissance ends as war pushes Italian artists out of the Italian peninsula, and money and influence is drawn to the north. And the Northern Renaissance is going to begin with an Italian artist whose name is Albert Dürer. Albert Dürer is famous at the time for his realistic paintings, and he will be like the father of the realist movement, and also for his really, really excellent engravings, of which he makes a lot of, and they're of stories that the average person can relate to. Albert Dürer's student, Hans Holbein the Younger, is going to be famous for painting a lot of the most famous people of Europe. Henry VIII is probably his most famous painting. A Dutch artist of the lowlands, Jan van Eyck, is famous for his realistic portrayal of like real life events. And then finally, Peter Bruegel's art is going to represent common life throughout the time. And this last one shows just children playing. He has a lot of these scenes of common everyday life. And that's that.
Good job.